with Putin was a PR disaster that sparked outrage from both Democrats and Republicans, but he still has people in his corner like our next guest. Please welcome author of the new book, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals, Judge Jeanine Pirro. Hi. Nice to see you again. We worked together at Fox for a long time. So you were on the short list to be a Supreme Court pick. Even Don Jr. tweeted, quote, "That would be pretty awesome." Did the president ever speak to you about being on the Supreme Court?
Well, I speak to the president quite often, but there was no discussion about me being on the Supreme Court. And I think that's what he means by fake news. It's on the front page of a New York City, one of the biggest newspapers. Look, I've been a judge. I was an elected county judge. I mean, I love it. It's not the most exciting job in the world, but no.
Okay.
Well, what about the rumor that you've lobbied to take over Jeff Sessions' job as an attorney general? You said you just speak to the president all the time.
I do.
Have you spoken to him about that?
I've known the president for 30 years, and I've spoken to him quite a lot over the last 30 years.
But how
and
about
to be
that?
honest, look, we talk about a lot of things, and I actually...
But how about the attorney general?
I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay.
What I'm trying to do when I go to the Oval Office or I speak to the president, I don't say anything different from what I say on my show Justice on Saturday nights. And that is that it is time that there are consequences for some of the things that are going on in Washington. Look, I've been a prosecutor, a judge, and a DA for 30 years. I've run for office 5 times. I believe in consequences. And when people violate the law, there needs to be consequences. And we're not seeing that in Washington. We're not seeing people made accountable for what they've done. So to answer your question directly, I have spoken to him, not about getting the job, no, but about having someone in that job. I don't care who it is, as long as it's an attorney general who's not in a closet hiding somewhere, who 24 hours after he took the job said, "I'm not going to do anything with respect to the election," and that's all we've been talking about for a year and a half.
Would you take the job?
I haven't been offered the job.
Okay.
That's not a no.
That's not a no.
Well, let's talk a little about Russia. He met with Putin in Helsinki. A lot of folks, Democrats and Republicans, agree it was probably not the best idea because it kind of undermines our country. What do you think?
Not the best idea, Whoopi? Come on. Every president in the last 75 years has met with the head of the Kremlin. And I think the most important thing to take back from this meeting is the fact that Russia and the United States have more nuclear power than the rest of the world. It's important, and I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said, the way, one of the ways to win is to make an enemy a friend. I'm not saying they should be friends, but what I'm saying is this. We come out of that meeting. We are arming the people in the Ukraine, $70 billion worth of arms, while Barack Obama stood by and let Russia go in. Let me finish.
I didn't
Crimea
say
was annexed, and as a result of the annexing of Crimea, we have thrown out Russian officials and nationalists. We've closed consulates. We are also, in the United States, making sure that with respect to Russia, if had Obama done anything about that red line, we wouldn't be...
He opens up an investigation into Russian collusion.
I came here... Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Okay, that but for Obama drawing the line in the red sand and doing nothing about a red line in the sand, we wouldn't have killed hundreds of Russians who were over there.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. So you're all for people meeting and having conversations. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Well, that's precedent.
Okay. Then how did you feel when Obama met with, I don't know, name somebody who... Castro or met
Raul
with...
Castro?
Yeah. Were you comfortable with that?
I have a problem with people talking. That's one of the things that we need now. We need people to talk. People who ostensibly hate each other. It's time we sat down and had
now.
Wait, can I just... One thing that jumped out at me is you said there should be consequences for laws. My understanding of the annexing of Crimea was that it was an international agreement that they could not go into Crimea. So those were consequences, and that means we won't sit down at a table. We will push back on you, Russia. And that's... So I'm just curious curious if that's.
And what did Barack Obama do?
But
that's
during
what
that?
it doesn't matter, Jeanine.
No, but
Barack Obama is no longer president.
So
How
that's
much
different.
longer are we going to be rehashing
Everybody
this?
stop. Everybody's talking at one
longer
time.
are we going to be blaming,
You know, everybody needs to just.
We blame Bush
We
for
want to
8
hear what
years.
everybody has to say. We want to hear what everybody has to say, so let's not talk over each other.
What you're saying is accurate, though, which is why a lot of people had a problem. You're right. International law was broken, and then President Obama did nothing. So you are correct in that aspect.
But how about
which
the
is
fact
part
that
of the reason why we're in the place that we are now?
President Obama opened up an investigation into Russian meddling, and this president fired James Comey, the person that was conducting the investigation. So what about that?
What about that? Okay, I'm glad you asked that question.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Now, one of the problems with meddling and this whole Russian investigation is there are 2 issues. Number one, was there meddling? Everybody agrees there was meddling. Donald Trump agrees there was meddling. Although Barack Obama said about a month before the election, there's no way anyone could meddle in the election. There can't be a rigged election.
Do remember that your friend also was made aware of the meddling. He was
that's
aware.
not what I'm saying.
I know
The
that's
second-
not what you're saying, but I'm adding to what you're putting out.
Yeah.
So the second part of the Russian investigation is what I write my book about.
Yes.
And that is when individuals in the Department of Justice, in the FBI, get together and tee up a fake investigation with a fake dossier paid for by a woman running for president that the DOJ, the FBI take to a
Paid for by Republicans first.
No.
Yes.
It was paid for
Yes.
by the DNC and Hillary Clinton.
Paid for by the
paid for by a
Republicans first.
Republican donor initially.
Paid for by the Republicans first.
Okay.
Come on.
I wonder what Republican that was. Do you know?
Paid for by
Been
Republicans
referred, actually, it was a donor to one of his primary
I'll
opponents.
finish this. So then they take it to a court, and the court then issues a warrant to spy on Americans. Now, if you're not offended by that, whether you're Republican or Democrat, Lady Justice is supposed to be blind, and the evidence is made clear from the email, text messages from the top FBI counterintelligence guy. We're going to stop him. It's not going to happen. We'll get an insurance policy. The insurance policy is Russia collusion. 19 months later, we don't have anything. So when the president recognizes there's meddling, but you can't blame him for saying, you guys have made all of this up. You've been investigating me for 19 months. Come up with
Benghazi
something.
went on for over 3 years.
Four people died in Benghazi. and therein lies the difference.
It's nice to have people to not yell at me so much. We'll have more with Judge Jeanine Pirro when we come back. Right now, yes.
We are back with Judge Jeanine Pirro. I wanted to get into the book a little. You tackle the anti-Trump conspiracy in your new book called Liars, Leakers, and Liberals. Now, that title could be offensive to some.
In today's age, you think?
I thought she was describing the Trump White House. Liars, leakers, and liberals.
So, tell us about the title and why you wrote the book.
Well, I wrote the book because I'm not an ideologue. I mean, I have been in the crime business for over 3 decades, and I think I said that before. And I know a con when I see it. And I think that what has happened in the last, truly in the last campaign, and everybody needs to be concerned about that. Lady Justice is supposed to be blind. And when you start creating fake investigations, fake counterintelligence. You saw it yourself with Peter Strzok, who comes out and basically says he hates the president and he's going to take care of everything. They then go to a judge and get a warrant. That's a problem for me, and it should be a problem.
Can I ask you, you just said
The warrant, look, I've been a judge. I signed those things. The warrant was based on a fake document by an opposing candidate in a national presidential race. This is what happens in
not only
third-world
based on that,
countries.
and you know that.
I do know. It is
Jeanine, you just said you're not an ideologue.
No, I'm not. I am in law enforcement.
Let me ask you the question.
It's right and wrong.
Do you think Donald Trump embraces and embodies conservative ideology? Remember, he used to be have a different position on pro-choice. He's imposing tariffs. He's against globalism. Do you think he is an ideologue that is faithful to conservative policies?
You know, I'm not here to talk about what Donald Trump is and isn't.
But you
I'm
brought
not
him
here
up
to
about
create
it. No, you got to answer
I'm
the
here
question.
to talk about
You
the.
gotta do it.
You
Okay.
want to talk about Donald Trump? You tell me what metric in this country is worse off. Unemployment is lower than it's been in 50 years. Minorities, Hispanics, African Americans have
because of
jobs when
President
they haven't
Obama.
had. It's not because of
Hate
Obama.
crimes are worse
And
off.
wait a minute, the GDP under Obama was barely 1. We're going up to 4.
So
you want to talk about hate
yeah,
crimes?
I'll tell you
I
about a
fought
metric.
for a
But
law for hate crimes.
I also think it's important, as we said, 89% of the Republican Party still supports him. He still has huge popularity in the country. And if Democrats don't get their you-know-what together, he's certainly going to get reelected.
Here's my question for you. Here's my question for you, because you talk about you talk about.
I am not, Judge.
Nobody is.
Oh, yeah.
Did you just point at me?
Yes.
Listen, I don't have Trump derangement. Let me tell you what I have.
Okay.
I have a lot of. I'm tired of people starting a conversation with Mexicans or liars and rapists. I'm tired of people starting a conversation about this country. Listen, I'm 62 years old. There have been a lot of people in office that I didn't agree with, but I have never, ever seen anything like this. I've never seen anybody whip up such hate. I've never seen anybody be so dismissive. And clearly you don't watch the show, so you don't know that I don't suffer from that. What I suffer from is the inability to figure out how to fix this. That's my issue. But one of the things that you talk about a lot, and I'm curious about it, is the deep state. How long has the deep state been there, and who's running it?
Well, I want to answer your question because you
didn't actually ask you a question.
You had in your opening statement, which was how horrible it is that Donald Trump is talking about
that's
all
what you,
of these
I'm
people.
sorry,
you know what
that's
I think
what you
is
said.
horrible?
You said,
Whoopi, you know what's horrible?
that
when
it
people
was,
who
it's
shouldn't
okay.
be here end up murdering the children of American citizens.
You know what's horrible?
What's horrible
when the president
is
of the
we
United
fund
States
sanctuary
whips up
cities.
people to beat the hell out of people.
No.
Say goodbye.
Let me go. I'm done.
Thank you to Judge Jeanine Pirro. Her book, Liars, Seekers, and Liberals, is out now. We will be right back.
So, welcome back. So you saw me do something I very rarely do. I very rarely lose my cool, and I'm not proud of it. I don't like it. But I also don't like being accused of being hysterical, because that's one of the things I try not to be on this show. So, have a great day. Go enjoy the view.
Yeah.
Thank you to Anna Navarro. Thank you
Thanks
for
for
watching. Thank you for coming. Take a little time to enjoy the view. Bye, y'all.